to the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo, a huevo. Doesn't matter where you from, Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere, todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos el programa, soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans out there, wherever you may be, all you La Cuna Galaxians. Thank you for hanging with us. Please let us know what city you are repping from. I myself am in Glendale, and Anandita Kirana, my co-host, he's back here in California. Speaking of Anandita Kirana, Anandita, how are you feeling today, bro? El Gitano Perdido, my co-host, the one and only Ride or Die G and homie.
I'm good, Papa. First of all, I got to shout out the chat, man. We missed you guys last time. And I got to apologize really quick because, I had a long trip in Spain, just came back yesterday. I'm going to sound like Doc Rivers all day, guys. So any of your Clipper fans out there, like literally my voice is going to crackle. If you hear my voice crackle, just go ahead and take a little laugh and pretend that didn't happen and we can move on from there. But of course, I will always be here for you G's, even with a crackled voice and Doc Rivers and all. So other than that, man, I'm doing great. It was what a crazy game, right? And I can't wait to talk about it with chat. Like I said, we missed y'all, so looking forward to chatting it up, doing this little La Cunita match reaction.
La Cunita. Well, chat, in case you didn't know, today we're going to be reacting to the Galaxy's latest match, a 3-3 home draw against St. Louis City that the Galaxy should have won, and they almost blew it and threw the points away at the end, but fortunately, they didn't. They were able to rescue one. Before we get into all that shenanigans, you know what, Ananda, you got some housekeeping, bro. And you got to do your thing.
Yeah, always some housekeeping. So first, guys, you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. You guys know where to find that. Of course, we are all over the socials. At La Cuna Galaxiana is our tag. And then, of course, as you obviously evidently know, we have a YouTube channel. You can find that on youtube.com/at La Cuna Galaxiana. By the way, if you have not yet and you want to help this channel, this little humble channel grow, go ahead and hit that subscribe and definitely give us the likes and share this video as well. That'll help us a lot. You know how these algorithms go, and we got to play the game.
And if you have, put someone on, man. Show somebody some love. Be like, hey, I love you. I want to show you this podcast.
Exactly. Paying it forward, right? That's what it is. And yeah, if you want to show some love to this pod, that's probably the best way to do it, man. And yeah, well, Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, desde España, just coming back to the US of A. Buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro La Cunita Galaxiana, otro capítulo La Cunita. Y pues Roberto, let's talk about this mental game, man. It's a lot of, I would say, turning points, a lot of just shenanigans from all places, all corners, including the referees, including our boy Martin, which we'll talk about. Just shenanigans everywhere. So let's jump into that head first, man.
I think this is what they refer to over the pond as shithousery, because there was just so much going on.
Shithousery. Yep.
Yeah. Real quick, want to give a shout out to the homie Hector out there and banning those IEGs. Hopefully, you guys got together over at the stadium and got together and hung out. Raúl, gracias por escucharnos desde Pico Rivera. You know who else is from Pico Rivera? My boy, Johnny Bettis, pride of Pico. Yep, that boy.
I met your game, huh, Papa?
Yes, he did. I was hanging out at halftime, and he came up and said that he enjoys the pod. He likes listening to us two hacks, which is cool for us. Thank you so much for sharing those nice words and for hanging with us tonight. We wish we could be talking about other circumstances, but as it is, it is what it is. We're talking about a 3-3 tie, like Ananda said. You know where to find us, guys. We have that La Cuna Galaxiana channel. Pretty much we're everywhere, on YouTube, and then you guys can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok under the same handle. So
And
make
like
sure
I
and check.
always and like I always say, guys, if you don't like seeing our faces, our hack faces, then that we have an audio version as well. So to each their own, and we have it for you all. We're trying to try to be the Starbucks of podcasts on every street corner and block.
Ooh, except we're gonna make good coffee, i.e.,
Yeah.
good content. But yeah, guys, if you guys did find us, thank you, and then go ahead and check out that preview pod that's gonna be dropping on Thursday. That's gonna be at 7 p.m. Of course, the Galaxy will face Kansas City on Saturday, March 23rd at 5:30. So we're gonna be bringing you everything you need to know before that. But we got some stuff to talk about today first before we even get there. Before that'll be later in the week. But a couple of shout outs before we get going further, because this one happens before we get together again on Thursday. LA Galaxy and LA Kings night is on March 20th. That one is going to be really fun because you'll get a 50-50 scarf. If you are watching this rather than listening to it, I will go ahead and paint the scene for you, audio listeners. So you have on one side a Go Kings Go in black and gray and white, and on the other side you have the blue, white, and gold with our Galaxy RLA. Definitely go ahead and hit up that game. It's super fun. I've been pretty much every year for the past 4 years, 5 years, and it's always a great time. So people kind of bring a soccer flavor to the hockey game and bust out chants and stuff like that, which kind of leaves people like looking at you like, what are you doing? That's not what you do at hockey games. But Galaxy fans do what they want wherever they want. Hey, the profe Alex Ruiz is in the chat. Alex, you know what? We're going to ask a question here in a moment, and I want you to make sure to weigh in. And actually, I forgot to ask Ananda this before we got into shoutouts, so I'm going to ask you. We're going to go back to shoutouts, okay? So Ananda, it was a 3-3 tie. It was crazy, like you said, bro. How do you feel about? Give me one word reaction to this match, and I invite all you guys in the chat to go ahead and do the same thing. Like I said, I especially want to know what Alex Ruiz, aka Alexinho, aka El Profe, has to say about this one. He was sitting right next to me in the press box, and we kind of just looked at each other a couple times because it was shenanigans. But Ananda, your one word reaction?
Nuts. That's all I gotta say, man. Just
Mm,
nuts.
nuttier than a squirrel turd, huh? Right on. Okay. Well, Ananda's got nuts on him right now. That
What
sounded
do you
wrong.
what do you got, man? Yeah. Someone's gonna clip that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your one word? You got one?
Disappointing.
A good one. It's a good one.
Yeah,
We'll
and
talk.
we'll get
Yeah, we'll get into
we'll
that.
get into that one because I got some feelings on this one for sure. Alvaro says wild. I agree. Raul Garcia says refs.
Nice
Yeah,
one.
that's another big one. We'll talk about that one
Hey,
today too.
bienvenidos la presi.
Hey, La Perezi. What? Yeah, no,
What?
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, there was a couple of different times that I said, "What?" There, and really in relation to the refs, but man, unpredictable. Alex says. Hector says roller coaster.
These
Yeah,
are
I
good.
mean, it took us all through the emotions of what a soccer match is. I mean, Mo said last week, it's like when you're a 5-year-old, just that sense of wonder. And then sometimes when you're a 5-year-old, you literally sit there and go like, I don't understand the world. I don't understand fouls apparently because these refs, man. But
No one
anyway,
does. Yeah.
like I said, I'm going back to shoutouts really quick because we do
Yeah.
have a couple of them to go through still, and then we'll get into this game, y'all, because it was nutty. Marvin, really quick says, my bunny who's recovering from his neutering surgery center, that one word reaction. I'm afraid I didn't really understand it all, Marvin, but thank you for telling us about your bunny, and good vibes to your bunny. You know what, like I like animals more than people, and Nanda knows that. So I'm sending all the good vibes to your bunny, bro. Gracias por estar aquí a todos. All right, so back to those announcements, guys. So we already told you about LA Galaxy and LA Kings night, which is this Wednesday. Make sure and go out and hang out with that G's community. This past match, they did Lars did in their annual baddies night, which is basically where the females become capos, and it's female led, female DJs, female bartenders. So shout out to all the girls from Lars over there. I did go ahead and pick up that Miss Yellow t-shirt, which was absolutely fire. I've made it kind of my tradition that when I pick up that Miss Yellow t-shirt to go ahead and make it my jammies t-shirt, because they're big and comfortable. And then I think this one also glows in the dark. I could be wrong though. But anyway, so shout out to those ladies over there. Shout out to former Galaxy 2, now aka Ventura County FC, for beating Earthquakes 2, aka the Town, 2-1 in their first match yesterday. That match was at the Digs. It was free. Anybody could have gone. And it was your first opportunity to see Ventura County FC, which is, you know, by all intents and purposes, Galaxy 2. Will, really quickly, since we're on the subject, said that nothing really changes except for, you know, the name. It's still going to be the pipeline to the first team and everything like that. But, you know, it's going to take some getting used to. I mean, I'm so used to saying Los Dos or G2 or Galaxy 2. But you know what? Hopefully I get to go out and see some future Galaxy first teamers at VCFC soon. VCFC will be playing on the 21st, which is Thursday, against Zeta FC 2 in the US Open Cup. So make sure and get your butts down there to the Digs, the Parks Track and Field, on Thursday the 21st at 7:30, so you can go ahead and support G2, aka Ventura County FC. Some Leagues Cup info, because I know everybody wants to know about the Leagues Cup. So many months away, but anyway, they're releasing info about that. In a weird way to do things here in this Leagues Cup. The Galaxy will be hosted by Chivas de Guadalajara on August 4th at the Digs. So apparently, because Chivas is higher in the rankings or the seedings for this tournament, they will be the home team for these matches. On July 31st, the Galaxy will play San Jose at PayPal Park. So chat, obviously, there's a lot of Chivas fans in California. So let me know, do you think there's going to be more Galaxy fans or more Chivas fans at this game on August 4th? I mean, I've seen some chatter already from Chivas fans that they're going to make that a real home game, not just in name, but like in feel. So let me know. Let me know how you feel about that one. Since we're doing the one word thing today, let me know in one word how you feel about Chivas fans trying to make the Digs their home for the day. So anyway, and now the reason we're here, let's talk about that 3-3 draw. Right? Do you think it's time?
It's time. Let's get into it, man. I know chat's seething at giving their opinions, because I mean, you just saw the one word reactions, man. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of differing opinions. So let's have at it.
Well, again, if you weren't at the game, didn't watch the game, you've been under a rock. The Galaxy tied 3-3, down 3-2 in the 88th minute. They scored an equalizing goal. Captain Maya Yoshida comes up big in stoppage time to earn the 3-3 come from behind draw before a sellout crowd of 25,174 on Saturday night. And I say this all with a grain of salt, being that the Galaxy were in charge for large portions of this match. They probably should have been up 3 or 4-0 within 30 minutes. I mean, there was multiple posts hit. Berkey came up big a couple of times. I mean, this game shouldn't have been 3-3. Ananda, am I crazy on this one? I mean, could it have been like 3 or 4-0 in the first 30, or was that just me?
Easy. And I'll come back to that, Robert. When we talk about us missing our chances, I will come back to that. So remind me if I don't touch on it, but I'm sure I will.
Well, guys, all season long, the Galaxy have come out and started strong and kind of blown away their opponents in the first, 30 minutes. And this one was no different. No sooner had people started to file in the third minute, Dejan Joveljic, he scores a really nice left-footed shot on his off foot. This whole play was pretty, man. I mean, it was evidence to how this team can play, and
Yep.
when it's clicking, man, it's really really pretty. I mean, this one had Diego Fagundes involved. This one had Julian Auda involved, who had his second assist of the season, and then culminated with Dayon scoring on his left foot for the Galaxy 1-0 in the third minute. I mean, when it's 1-0 in the third minute, I mean, and playing like they're playing, what did you think right there, Ananda?
I mean, we're off to the races, right? But the thing is that's the thing. I talked about this when we were talking to Mo earlier this week. We can't underestimate St. Louis. They just keep at it. They keep at it. We saw it last week against Austin. They came back from, I think, an 0-2 deficit. So we know St. Louis is a hard team to put away, man. They are feisty. They're energetic. So I wasn't counting my chickens yet. I was like, let's settle down. It's early. It's way too early. And we know the Galaxy, Robert. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, well, I wanted to think that we were starting to know them. Rami says, yeah, chale indeed, man. One word for the Chivas home game in quotes is chale. Hector says, I was born hating Chivas in any country. Yeah, I mean, I understand those sentiments exactly. So there's a couple things we noticed from this game, Ananda. The Galaxy have goals in them, like we saw. They got up to a great start. By all intents and purposes, they're one of the best offensive teams in the league. I mean, they're just behind Miami right now with 9 goals scored. However, they still keep making boneheaded mistakes, like in the 27th minute where Edwin plays back to Ricky. Ricky gets in trouble and he turns the ball over. And that leads to the tie, 1-1. Thomas Ostrak just, I mean, how are you gonna? Yes, psych. On both counts, on the goal and the Chivas, right?
Yeah.
So Ostrak takes advantage and he gets the 1-1. And that's how we go into the half. But one of the things we noticed about this game, that you and I were talking about is, is it missed chances or an amazing goalkeeper? I will get into Berkey a little bit more. But did they have those missed chances, or is it just like amazing goalkeeping?
Again, I will go back to that. But I can we give like a political answer and say it's both? Can we do that like you did with 2 points gained or 1 point dropped, or 2 points lost or 1 point gained?
Yeah, I suppose we can give that political answer.
I'll back it up with facts, by the way. I'll back it up with some stats. So I'll turn it back to you. We'll go back to that. We'll get back to that for sure.
Alrighty. Well, second half is where pretty much all the action is here. Galaxy come out in the second half strong again. It's that Mark Delgado, Joseph Paintsel connection again, and Mark Delgado plays in Joe Pants behind the lines, and he scores his second goal for the Galaxy, his first at home in the 51st minute. That's correct. Sorry. Dyslexia, it's a killer. So in the 51st minute, the Ghanaian international gets his second goal. And what was beautiful about this, Ananda? I mean, you weren't in the stadium, so you don't know, but they played his music, man.
I saw it on the replay because I was listening on these headphones, which is like noise canceling because I was at the airport and stuff, and I was catching on replay, and I was like, wait, are they playing the jam? Are they playing my jam right now? I was like, dude, I was like dancing to myself in the airport lounge. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, and really quick, while we're on the subject of just getting down and playing good music and stuff like that. Ooh boy, you supporters sounded lovely out there. I mean, Profe Alex and I were. I told Profe, I was like, man, I haven't seen it like this for a good long while. I mean, people were in their seats pretty much from the get go. It was nice and full. I mean, V Block was rocking.
Bouncing,
138
yeah.
was rocking. I mean, Ananda, you told me that you could hear them clearly.
I could hear it. Yep. And that there was no artificial noise in that broadcast. Let me tell you, that was pure noise.
There's no roof, no artificial noise, no speakers, nothing. This is just natural support and passion. So yeah, like I said, I mean that y'all sounded great. I mean, if this one was nationally televised on, for free, then they did their thing because they got to show what a really good support can do for the atmosphere for the team. I mean, you saw them coming out in the third minute and getting that goal. So I just want to give a shout out to them. Ananda asked me, low key, like, hey, was it better than Miami? Was the atmosphere better than Miami? You know what, man? It was different. Obviously Miami just had like all the spectacle of just the novelty of what was going on, but this felt like an LA Galaxy home game without all the distractions of who was there, like Messi, or Suarez, or David Beckham. This felt like, hey, this is an LA Galaxy home game, and that's what we're here for. Like not only just the crowd, but like all the supporters, everybody like was there to support the Galaxy. There was no distractions. So, uh, like I said, different, and but no less intense. It was great. It was focused. I mean, it was love, man. I mean, I really enjoyed it on that count. So especially when you get Joey Pants's is song playing for him in the 51st minute. The Podfather, Corner of the Galaxy, of course, you guys know him, you guys love him. He busted out the WWE thing, and he was like, "Oh my God, they're playing Joseph Painsel's music." So I mean, I thought that was really cute. Shout out to him. Um, but the lead would not last long, and you know what? This one was one of the first kind of like refereeing things that we really got to see that kind of them take a whiff on right there. So in the 60th, St. Louis gets a corner kick. John McCarthy gets fouled, just straight up. He gets impeded, but Nielsen gets his foot on the bicycle right here, and he scores the tie. Not taking away anything from Nielsen. This was a nice bicycle kick. But when you saw that 2-2, Ananda, what were you thinking, man?
This game's in the balance, and honestly, I think the impeding one for me was more on the third goal, which we'll talk about in a second. Second one, you're not going to get that call, but the third one was definitely more, I think, suspicious. But and the other thing too is Adeniran just got in the game, and fair credit to St. Louis, man. He's a tall guy. You got to mark for him, and that was our fault for not marking him in the back post, and he was going to be a marker. It's funny, like I'm going through my coach's head right now of Lacuna Matata, like telling you guys, mark the bar post, like go man to man on corners. That's
Right.
like what I'm thinking. Like exactly. Alex is probably going to say something right now in the chat because
He did. He said it was sus. Yeah.
it was sus. Yeah. So that's what I thought. I thought this game was in the balance. It could go either way, because both teams had the quality to win it.
So since we're talking about Profe, Alex, him and I noticed that towards the later stages of the match. By this point, Gabriel Peck is in. Galaxy's just playing balls over the top to the wings, right? To Joey Pants mostly, right? Because he had been the most dangerous. So they're playing that ball over the top. They're getting a lot of space. Galaxy look more dangerous. However, it is St. Louis who gets the goal to go ahead 3-2, and that's really where I said Chale, when St. Louis goes in 3-2, because I really thought, this is like, okay, I've been saying we'll see where this team is after a month and a half, but this was the moment where I was like ready to say, okay, they've shown us who they are. Start fast, not able to hold the lead, and then drop points. Fortunately, it didn't end up like that, but again, this one was really hard because there was another refereeing decision that was very scrutinized here. This one was called an own goal, off of a corner kick, and John McCarthy again gets impeded here, and St. Louis gets the goal. For you, Ananda, should he have done better, or is this a legit foul? I mean, like trying to take our homer hats off right here, but like strict interpretation of the law.
This is going back to your point, though. It's like, what is a foul, right, for these referees? I mean, Look, my understanding is if you're obstructing, especially goalkeepers, like they give a lot of leeway for goalkeepers. If you're obstructing space and you're preventing the goalkeeper from getting to a certain area, and the guy just backed into him, he didn't even play the ball, like wasn't even playing the ball. Let me tell you this, like anywhere else on the pitch, like defenders going against forwards, like them backing in, the forward gets called for that foul anywhere else. But because this is at that side of the pitch, maybe they didn't decide to call it. I don't know, man. I just don't know what a foul is or isn't anymore, which is like the frustrating thing. And I can imagine how frustrated Vanny and his team are.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we'll go ahead and mention that when we'll talk a little bit more about referees. But fortunately, Captain Maya, who we'll talk about as well, he gets the equalizing goal off of Gaston Bergman's free kick. It was deserving of what they fought for in this game. They should have won, but they shouldn't have lost points. But at the same time, I mean, they need to start learning, Ananda. You have some stats here to back up the what should have been a victory and unfortunately wasn't.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Here we go. All right. So some match stats for y'all. Let me just put that there. So we are in the blue. St. Louis is in the red, obviously. So pretty interesting, man. Like pretty even game in terms of expected goals. We were at 2.5. These are per FOTMOB, by the way. 2.53 and St. Louis with 2.14. St. Louis had more shots than us, but we had more shots on target, which is good, actually. I've been noticing that trend lately that we are putting the shots on target. We're not wildly sort of lashing at it. As Greg said, we're creating really high percentage chances, Robert. Problem is we're not finishing enough of them, right? So 5 big chances for us, 3 for St. Louis, 2 big chances missed. We've been seeing that pattern. Every time I put these stats up, we've been seeing that pattern lately, at least 2 or 3 missed big chances, whether it's a penalty or in our case, hitting the woodwork, etc. Also amazing goalkeeping, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And we dominated the game passing wise, 85%, committed 13 fouls to their 21 and 4 corners. I mean, honestly, pretty even matchup. Pretty dominant in possession too, Robert, 67%. But honestly, I think we know St. Louis's style. We talked about this with Mo. They are sort of an energetic, like win the ball back and counter press. We saw that on their goal, where Ricky played hero ball, which we also talked about with Mo. Hey, I feel like we're oracles around here, Robert. Like we just, we know what we're talking about, I think, right? Like we can see some of these patterns developing, right? And
we pretend really well.
Yeah, we fake it really well. No, but yeah, man, like just we said that St. Louis is going to be high pressing and energetic, and Ricky tried to play hero ball, and that's where he gets in trouble. So just stuff like that. But no, pretty interesting, right? Like stats wise, I mean, pretty even matchup, and I think both sets of teams play to their strengths for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we saw things that, like you said, we called attention to. Dayon has been in goal scoring form, so he got his 4th goal of the season. Interesting stat on Dayon really quick. What does Alvaro have to say real quick? That 3-2 triggered the PTSD. Oh my God, yes. I mean,
that's a really interesting point from Alvaro, which we might bring up.
Well, no, I mean it's yeah. I saw that going 4-2, and then everybody leaving disappointed. But we'll talk about that in a moment. More on Dayon here. He's the 5th player in LA Galaxy history to score in 4 consecutive matches to begin a season. He's also registered 7 goal contributions in his last regular season appearances, dating back to October 7th. And his XG is off the charts right now. It's 4.0 non-penalty XG. He probably should be in like the 6 or 7 XG right now. But he's in good company because the last Galaxy player to score in 5 matches was Zlatan. He actually scored in 7 in 2019. So we called that Dayon was gonna probably get one. He did. We called that Ricky was gonna be one of the danger men. He was. He had his first assist of the season. He finished the match with 104 touches, an 85% pass accuracy rate, and 5 of 7 duels won, 4 fouls won, and a team high 5 possessions won. So again, he's doing the work on both sides of the ball again, which is what I love to see.
And one mistake, unfortunately.
Ooh, yes. We did mention Julian Aure. Che boludo, ¿cómo estás? Hopefully he listens to this pod. He recorded the assist for the second consecutive match, and he had a game high 3 interceptions. I feel like ooh, I didn't see that, Hector. I didn't see that. If anybody has any more information on that or can confirm that, holler at us. But I didn't see Julian Aure limping. I was just
I
talking about
I would imagine it
how
would just be cramp because remember his physically. I think he's getting better this year, but I don't know. Maybe Profe Alex, maybe in chat, Profe, if you have any info on that. I think it's just cramp though. To be honest, he played a full 90, right?
he played a full 90 and he
Yeah.
won 2 out of 3 tackles and 7 out of 11 duels. I mean, I think this was the game that should have put Galaxy fans at ease about Julian Aure. You know, talking about how he's maybe not the guy for that position. I think he's growing into it every week more and more. I mean, 2 assists in his in 4 matches. I think he was pretty good defensively. Last game, obviously, he had that mistake for one of the goals, one of the Nashville goals, but I think he did pretty well for himself, all things considering. But chat, let me know what you think. Is it time to give Mal Cuevas a shot, or Johnny Nelson a shot over there? Let us know what you think about Julian's season so far. Of course, Gaston Brugman got some more time. He had 21 minutes of action. He got his first assist of the season himself, had a 90% pass accuracy rating, created 3 chances and won 3 possessions. I mean, these are the guys you expect to step up, man. With the exception of Julian Aude, who's kind of been misaligned, I think, a little bit by Galaxy fans. But yeah, I mean, this is what we expect to see. 4 unchanged lineups in a row. I mean, like I said, these were the guys we were expecting to be out there. Were you surprised that Gaston didn't get the start?
No, I'm not surprised, and I think this is gonna be. You know what? I was listening to the Nag Boys. A shout out Bryant and Edgar. Bryant was back, I think, from like a little. He hadn't been on for a while, but he brought up a really good point in that. I mean, I can't remember last time, Robert, that we had 4 games in a row of an unchanged lineup, right? And to me, I see that as a positive more than a negative. I think one of the like really, really sort of tough moments last year, tough points last year was that we had so many injuries and so many things shuffling in and out, especially if you shuffle that back 4, it's going to create a lot of instability, and stability is what you need in the back 4. So to build these foundational building blocks, like you need a consistent starting lineup. So I was very happy with the consistent, the 4th game in a row. Remember, we've got a lot of new players. I think half the team is probably, or half the starting 11 at least is new. So I'm a fan of this consistency for sure.
I think it's time for Gaston.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it. I mean, he looked wonderful in his 21 minutes of action. I think part of the reason that Ricky has to drop so deep is the fact that we don't have someone like Gaston linking up the lines back there. Yeah, Edwin is doing a wonderful job, but he's just a different type of player than Gaston is, right? I mean, Gaston is going to be more secure with the ball. Like I said, he's going to link up the lines, and he's going to allow Ricky to not have to drop down so deep. I mean, that first goal was a direct result of Ricky having to drop down deep and getting the ball from Edwin Cedillo in basically a dangerous position. So I think, if Gaston's out there, that doesn't happen. But let's see what the chat thinks. I mean, who are you going with? Are you going with Edwin Cedillo, who has started every single match so far, or do you think it's time to bring Gaston Brugman back into the fold? No, you have some comments, Ananda.
I have one just like little point to that, which I think, and this is a good thing, it's a positive thing, which is different horses for different courses. I think the reason why we played Cerrillo, in particular against St. Louis, is because they are a fast.
You think you're a rapper now, or what?
No, it just rolled off the tongue, so I just
Ooh,
made
look
that
at
up.
you, el poeta.
But but no, man, it's good that we have this sort of flexibility, right? I think he picked him against St. Louis because we needed more athleticism. We know St. Louis is very pacey in the middle. Gaston, for as good as he is, he's not the most mobile, right? So maybe protect him a little bit. Let Edwin give a run out for 60 minutes and then put him in. But Robert against SKC, which we'll do the preview later this week, maybe there is an opportunity then to play Gaston because they aren't so fast counter pressing, high energy. And again, this is a good problem to have. I'm loving that we're having this conversation instead of all the BS conversations that we had last year.
Instead of like who in Lord's name are going to play there? Instead
Yeah,
instead of that
exactly.
conversation.
Exactly.
Heck disagrees with me. It's all right. Heck, I love you. He says he thinks he needs 2 more games. Bergman needs to be ready to run for 90. Yeah, he's maybe not there yet. Galaxy Maniac 562 says 1/2 each. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't see Greg doing that one. Unless he really wants to give Gaston the minutes, but that's just my opinion, man. I'm high on Gaston Brugman. I'm sad we didn't get to see him more last year. I think if he hadn't gotten injured, the Galaxy probably would have made the playoffs. And I think the team needs that leadership. That the team has been talking about character a lot. Gaston's a character on the field. He has that presence. Again, no knock on Edwin, but there's again a certain presence that you get from Gaston, a certain ability to link up those lines and get people forward, i.e. Ricky, or even Mark, even a
Mark.
little bit more. Yeah, I mean, so I think that's what you get with Gaston, but what do I know? I don't coach the team. So Greg, go ahead, keep on doing what you're gonna do. It's not like it's not like Edwin's doing bad. So
Hey, man, I feel Greg, man, because I got to choose between Hammer and Alex Ruiz every week. So I know how it feels about selection just headaches, man. It's not easy.
that is a toughie. Both wonderful players.
Outstanding left wingers. Yeah.
Uh, real quick, shout out to Liga G and all of Liga G and of course the Lacuna Matata boys. You know what? Alex said it at the game. We're gonna be a problem next season, and watch, we're gonna be a problem. But anyway, I mean,
Anyways.
this was a game for me that, again, the Galaxy should have won. They could have won. They by all intents and purposes could have put this one to bed in the first 30 minutes. And then when the game was really in the balance, the referees made themselves the talking point. So yeah, you got the refereeing again. It seems like the Galaxy always get hard done by these calls. I mean, not even a check on the John McCarthy quote unquote foul for the
Yeah.
goal, not even a check. And believe me, I mean, the crowd was asking for it. They were definitely asking for the VAR. It was loud, it was proud, and at the end of the day, referee does not go to check VAR. I think I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Alex or Judge Sophie. Alex, let me know in the chat if it was you so I can properly attribute you. But I think one of them told me that they felt like the refereeing was worse in this match than against Miami. Ananda?
I'd have to watch that one back because again, I've only watched the game once. I haven't had a chance to rewatch the game, only highlights. But based off of what everyone was saying in the press conference, and I did feel that when I was watching the game, that the calls were very inconsistent. Like how Martin got a yellow for that first one is beyond me. No warning, nothing, just straight yellow, right? So and then it didn't live up to like the yellow card, like what constitutes a yellow card just didn't live up to that the second half. So it was very, very like inconsistent game, man. And you know what, Robert? Like yet another week goes by with more incidents, not only for us, but the whole league, right? I don't know if you
Right.
caught this, but the Athletic put out a really good article, by the way, and they highlighted just this is what match week 5 or match day 5, and Garber from the beginning has said, "I'm going to see this out, right? I'm going to see this out." That was his statement. Well, there was a red card against Chicago whilst Montreal was up 2-0, and it caused them to lose that game. That was a huge turning point in that game.
4-3.
Per Dean Smith in the Charlotte press conference, he had a stonewall penalty, and I took a look at it, bro. Literally, the guy just pushed him over. He barged him. The defender did, and that usually is a penalty in my book. And then if you look at the DC Miami game, kind of like Vanny kind of skirted it a little bit, but their head coach declined to comment after there was a handball incident that led into a Miami goal. So it's not just us; it's the whole league. And just wanted to bring up this quote really quick from that article. Um, After, remember last week Garber said that our players think that they're doing a good job. Our coaches that they're doing a good job. He's talking about the replacement referees. But the Players Association called that quote grossly inaccurate, saying that players are very clear that the replacements are undertrained,
I love it.
lacking experience, and are not nearly at the level that a league of MLS's stature deserves. So this has got to change, man. It's got to change. I think it's coming to a boiling point now. It's come to a head. I mean, we talked about it even with La Presi, way back when we're previewing or looking ahead towards that Miami game, and that was the start of the strike, right, from the pro refs, and we said this is gonna be a like MLS has to nip this in the butt because this is gonna be an extremely difficult situation, and it's starting to come to a head, man. It's boiling up real quick because it's not just us that's complaining. It's other teams across the league, across the board.
Yeah, man, I didn't want to get like too off of
Sorry, did I
the
get you
beaten path
heated?
here. Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's the whole ref situation, right?
Yeah.
Which is causing havoc all across the league. I mean, so many red cards. I mean, players clearly not happy. Fans clearly not happy. It's diluting the quality of play and the league. So you take all that into consideration, and what should be again. The league held in high regard because Leo Messi's over here. All the eyeballs in the world are here right now, and so they're not taking advantage of what they could be taking advantage of. I mean, let's take all the ref stuff out of the equation, right? Because this is one that touches me personally, right? Uh, MLS is, or yeah, I shouldn't blame MLS for this one as a whole, but FC Cincinnati. I don't know if you caught this thing that's going on with one of the reporters over there and how she got her credential pulled. Um, but this is indicative of what this league is criticized for, right? So if you guys aren't in the know, Laurel, I'm hoping I pronounce her last name correctly, Failer, has been covering FC Cincinnati since before they were an MLS club. She recently got her credential pulled by the club for supposed transgressions. They put out a very opaque, very murky statement accusing her of inconsistencies and making up sources. What From what we gather, from what the North American soccer reporters have been able to gather, shout out to the president of that fine body, Rachel Krieger, who's a friend of the show, has been on the show. All Laurel did was speak to sources outside of their team provided sources. So basically she went and found her own sources and spoke to people, and that was her supposed transgression. This is a league that's, by what Don Garber says, trying to be the one of the top 5 leagues in the world. You're not going to do it like this. You're not going to do it by pulling reporter credentials for speaking to sources that aren't state controlled or state managed. And back on the subject of the referees, you're not going to get it by trying to quiet coaches about their real feelings on what's going on, trying to quiet the players about what's going on. I mean, it's a farce. It is what it is. I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, the players came out with a quote saying, "Hey, we're not happy at all." And hopefully they get it resolved. I mean, who would have thought we'd be pining for pro ref? Did you?
Nope, I never thought I would miss our old favorite referee, our favorite pals, and yeah, just
What's his name? Jair Montufo. Man, I miss him. I mean, we didn't know how good we had it. Oh my god. But
yeah, better him than a DJ. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, better him than what the Galaxy had on over this weekend. I mean, Raul says this one was worse than Miami. I agree. I mean, at least with Miami, there was that, like, these are Leo Messi this is Luis Suarez, and that intimidation factor of like, hey, how am I going to call this foul on Leo Messi? But no shade, but this was St. Louis City, and then this guy wasn't up to the task.
Really quick, Hector, you are not wrong, and we are going to get to that, and we do have to move past these refs. But as Vanny said, I just want to close this on this point. Vanny made a really good point in the press conference, saying if you're going to play a team like this that's really aggressive, that presses high up the pitch, it is going to be a physical game, right? And so when they get away with fouls like shirt tugging, just like the dark arts, right, and referees don't catch that, or they don't at least manage the game in a way that it's consistent, so we know what is a foul, what isn't, what is a card, and what isn't. He's not wrong. Vanny is not wrong. It's going to be very, very difficult to play that game. And unfortunately, that's just kind of how it turned out. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes on to, and yes, we got to move on from the refs. I mean, I can go on that one all day and loafing all day. You know me, man, like power to the people for damn sure. So refs, get your money, hold that line, and we should all be supporting them. But you know what? Since we do got to move on, like you said, that kind of brings us to our next point, which is, did the Galaxy just mess this one up and miss their chances, or was Berkey just that guy this game? I think both can be true.
It was both. It was both, man. So remember, Greg said that it wasn't that we were missing chances. We were missing like high quality chances, Robert.
Really good chances.
Like really good chances. That was the quote. That was the words that he used, right? So for all you stat nerds out there, which I am, so if you're not one, you can close your ears for the next 30 seconds. But for reference, if you look at Deion's goal, right, it was at if you look at XG, so 0.34 XG, which means there's a 34% chance, which is high, of a goal coming in, and JP's was at 43.43, right? Now, if you look at Jovelic's header off the post, that was a 34% XG as well. Actually, I think it was 0.37. And then the back heel after that, I think we forget that part. He hits the post, gets the ball back, chests it down, tries to back heel it in, and then it gets blocked. That was a 27% chance of going in. And then, of course, the Jovic cutback from JP in that second half, that was an amazing save. And by the way, Drew Robert, that one had
that was nice.
That had a 0.46 XG. Como un gato, el man. I mean, Berkey just so like that's what I'm saying, right? So like the header, okay, like maybe he got to push in the back from the defender, but stuff like that happens in the box. But the second one, man, so that's just an amazing save. I just gotta clap to that, right? There's nothing else he can do. It's como el gato, like a prime Iker Casillas. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Big ups to him on that one. I mean, even with the Martin Cáceres one, the header from Martin. I mean, guy goes full stretch, and he's. I mean, again, this one could have been 3-4-0 in the first 30. I mean, he had the incredible save on Diego Fagundes in the first half as well. I mean,
yep.
the guy made at least 4 saves that were just otherworldly and incredible, right? I mean,
Gabriel Peck at the end of the game. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, here's our good friend Phil interviewing Berkey at the end of the game. Shout out Phil, wherever you are. Phil was kind of nervous before the match. Him and I ran into each other. He said, I'm going out on the field and interviewing some folk, and I said, you're going to kill it. He absolutely did. Here's the photo evidence of him killing it. But yeah, he's talking to this man Berkey because, I mean, really in a 3-3 tie, in which shouldn't have been a tie, he was the man of the match. I mean, we're always talking about defending the badge for the Galaxy. I mean, this guy was easily defending the badge for St. Louis. So this no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, he just saved them the 3 points. So, but like you said, I mean, these were really, really, really good chances. So Deion actually told us in the presser afterwards that he felt responsible for these dropped points. And he said it was dropped points, not a point earned. And he felt responsible. But it's hard to get too mad at him because he is scoring. He has his XG's up there. He is scoring. He's scored in 4 games in a row. Christian Miles put out a question today. How many goals do you think he gets at the end of the season? Chat, let us know. I'm calling 15.
Yeah,
so
right.
Yeah, so chat, let us know how many you think Deion gets, and then let me know how many you think he should have gotten, because the two are different. Right now, he is tied for the Golden Boot with 4, but again, I think that he could be on 7 or 8. I mean, easily, yeah. I mean, so it's hard to say he's underperforming, but he's underperforming.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So Robert, I think I hope you guys we'll talk about defending badge later, but I didn't I put Dayon in the first one and I was gonna delete it, but I was like, you know what? This is an interesting like thought experiment because when I look at sort of everyone's selections, and by the way, if you haven't voted for defending the badge, go ahead and do that. It's we posted on X already. And of course, the people called for Martin, which I did, and I think it makes a lot of sense, right? And I had that thought hadn't crossed my mind, but it's interesting. Like Dayon didn't really get any votes, and I think
he got no love.
I think it's warranted. Again, we'll move on from this discussion because that's a whole nother rabbit trail that we can go under. But
we can have a whole show about Dayon right now.
We talked about it last week, but I think he's not still getting the love, and I think it's because like he probably should have had 7 or 8 goals, and he only had 4. By the way, guys, a goal a game is not a bad thing. So again, the conversation I think will continue with Dayon. But again, I'm going to go back to the point that I made last show, which is let's see him step up. I think his next phase of progression is scoring those important goals, those key goals, and that's where he'll make his mark with the fans, I think.
Yeah. So the big question here is this the same old Galaxy? I mean, people have already spoken about PTSD, about getting worried when St. Louis scored their 3rd. I mean, so far this season, the Galaxy have dropped 6 points from winnable positions. They should be undefeated. They should be first in the West, but for me, it's silly individual mistakes that keep plaguing them, namely on set pieces, like we saw J-Mac could have done better. So now we're at the point where, yes, this team is playing better. Yes, the optimism is there. Yes, we noticed the difference, but it's not enough. They need to get 3 points now. And I think no one could have said it better than the captain, Maya Yoshida himself.
So, a difficult game and we didn't play well. In the end, we got 1 point. That's positive thing. Of course, we can pick the positive things. That's very important as well. In the end of the season, we say, okay, that point made a huge difference, or the 2 points we dropped made a huge difference. That's up to us now. And anyway, we need to get 3 points. We keep drawing and we say, yes, we are very positive, blah, blah, blah. It's enough. We need to get the 3 points. Probably the coach said the same things. That's he said in the dressing room. I totally agreed. And, again, we fly to Kansas next game. Away game is not easy, especially traveling. Time different. Is it time different? Yeah. Okay. Again, so that's we need to manage it. Of course, after that, big games coming again. So hopefully, or we have to get 3 points next game.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Only 1 win on the season so far. Yes, you're unbeaten, but only 1 win. So,
Robert, let me paint you this scenario too, right? And I saw this made a really good point. Shout out VGN Gamer, by the way, who I know we interact with it for Liga G, etc. And this was in the context of like he put a post up about that are the Alex Galaxy back, right? Just going to that sort of question that was posed in the media and that there was chatter around it. Think about this. We have 1 win and 3 draws this year, right? To start 2024. Guess how we started 2023, Robert? 1 win and 3 draws. So we are on the same amount of points after 4 games as we were in 2023, right? So
wasn't there the Dallas loss though at the beginning of the year?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. So we 1 loss and 3 draws, right? So, but we started with 3 draws, right? And that, I think that was the point where like we have a very, very similar amount of points. But unfortunately, like, and I guess we only have 1 more win to show for it, right? Is the point. So like to your question, like, are the same old Galaxy back? We're not that far away from last year. Like, after the first 4 games, we're only like 1 win up. So yes, things are trending in the positive direction. But look, I only brought that up just to like put some numbers to it. But if you look at it from an eye test perspective, Andrew, it's funny. Andrew just said something about eye test. If we look at it from the eye test perspective, we can just see that this team has a better foundation. There's just little tweaks and little adjustments and little things that we have to improve on, but those are like, I would say 10% adjustments versus like 50% adjustments, like truly foundational things, you know, like not being able to transition defense or completely breaking down after your 2 goals down in a game and completely just like folding over, right? So these are fixable things. And I think with time, with practice, these things will get better for sure.
Well, let's hope they do. The Galaxy, they put out their official moment of the match, which was obviously the tying goal here by Captain Maya Yoshida. But I'm curious to know what your moment of the match is, Ananda.
Moment of the match for me is basically the last play of the game, right? It is the hip check from Martin, which I think I'm going to talk about in a little bit too. We're talking about defending the badge. Not to preview anything too much, but you know that hip check, man. It's you know you're tied, you're 3-3. They're coming back at you, and could have been a 1-on-1 against McCarthy, and it could have been like really really nervous. So, I'll talk more about that play later, but I think that was a really really important moment of the match because there's so many turning points in this game. I couldn't pick one, and I felt like that at the end of the game, very very important.
I've already mentioned mine. It was that back pass from Edwin to Ricky. I feel like that one really, really took the wind out of the sails of what the team was doing in the moment. Entirely dominant. Already had hit the post. Had gotten just a point blank reaction save from Berkey. Again, should have been up 3-0. Wasn't, but was in the driver's seat. And then you have a silly mistake there, and it turns the game. It let St. Louis back into it. I mean, at that point, they had the scruff of the neck. You know, they had a hand on the scruff of the neck, and Galaxy let them up. It was the antithesis to the whole killer thing that they're talking about all season. They let them get off the loma, as you say in Spanish. They let them get off the ring floor, man, and they gave them life, and they took it, and they almost got out of there with 3 points. So I think that's my moment of the match. Just things like that we saw all last year just turned matches. But fortunately, Captain Maya turns up with the goods in the end to rescue the point. He's on our defending the badge list here, as is Mark Delgado, as is Martin Cáceres, as is Joe Pants here. So we're going ahead and break it down with Mark here. He recorded his league-leading 4th assist, his 2nd at home. He's playing so well right now that the Galaxy are quote-unquote in danger of losing him. And that's per Hercules Gomez, who has been talking about Mark being potentially being courted by Emma Eki's teams. So from what Hercules is tweet said, that the Galaxy are, like I mentioned, in danger of losing him. So hopefully they don't, because this man is playing lights out. Like I mentioned, 4 assists. He's just been everywhere. He's been called 3 lungs. He's been called the great balancer. And I don't see that being wrong. I mean, he's criminally underrated. So he's one of the candidates here. Martin, obviously, he had the game-saving tackle. I mean, it was a defending the moment kind of defending the badge kind of moment. So Greg had to say on him about the play. Cáceres is a warrior first and foremost. Obviously, he's been around the block a time or two. He knew he could take no chance in the guy getting by him if we were going to end that play. So we had to sacrifice himself for it. Again, this is a quintessential defending the badge kind of play right here. Of course, we have the new unbreakable one. JP, he notched his 2nd goal of the season, his 1st at home. It was lovely to hear his music when he scored. He finished the match with a goal, 4 chances created, 8 of 11 duels won, 4 possessions won, and a game high 5 fouls won. For his efforts, he made the bench for Team of the Week in MLS. He's doing it. He's being that guy. I mean, he's earning that contract. And then finally, we end with Captain Maya Yoshida, who scored the game-tying goal. Ananda, I'm putting you on the spot first. Who's it going to be for you? Oh, you are on mute. Wait, bring him back. You're on mute.
Beautiful.
Bring him
I'm
back.
back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. All right. Oh, by the
Hey,
way,
what up, Mo?
what up, Mo? Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey.
Well, that's Mo. Your defending match is super easy, man. Berkey was man of the match, so that's an easy one
Yes.
for you. But if you have one for the Galaxy, let us know who you think the Galaxy's man of the match was. But or defending the badge. But for me, man, given the sort of your definition, our definition that we created together about defending the badge, I've got to give it to Martin. And like I said, the folks on X, man, they really turned me on because I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I don't know why I didn't think about Martin
They're gonna clip that.
with that. Yeah, well, go for it. And I'm on the
Yeah.
record, right? We're always on the record, right?
Those folks on X, they really turn you on. Yeah. Go ahead and clip that, y'all.
Well, tit for tat, right? There you go. You can clip that one too, because they got one for you, and then now you have one for me. But no, man, it's just kind of sacrificing yourself just for the good of the team. Like I said, it could have been a really, really gnarly situation, one-on-one against the keeper. I mean, granted, I think McCarthy's a pretty good shot stopper one-on-one, but against a dinner, and he was coming full steam. I mean, how is that not a definition of defending the badge, Albert? It's literally defending the badge, like literally in defense, right? But just the self-sacrifice it took. You know what's interesting about that? And one of the reasons why I didn't initially think about it was because I think about his red card last year, right? And sort of the context that was around that red card versus this year. This guy gets a red card, and bro, like he's clapped off the field. Like, and this is just another like
Ovation.
this is just like another representation of how different this year feels versus last year, right? Last year, he was just getting like peltered online in the media. We were peltering him even on this podcast, right? But this year, he gets a red card
Were
and gets
we?
clapped off the field. Yeah, well, at least I was in the episode we did with Judge Sophie. I mean, let's call the spade a spade. It was boneheaded, right? It was a boneheaded play. He was a bonehead. Like why you would go to the VAR monitor to like complain vehemently when that was bonehead. But
Comedy scenes.
this year it's nuts, right? Like and that's just, and again, like I said, another piece of evidence that like this year just has different vibes, different feel. But anyways, defending the badge, Martin Cáceres.
Mo has a different take. And I saw him say this on online, and I can see why you would say that, right? Hate to say it, Cáceres thought the foul was nasty.
He has his red and blue colored glasses on, Robert. Of course he's gonna say that. I wouldn't expect anything less.
It was enthusiastic for sure. Maya and Greg talked about the fact that Maya Yoshida probably should have brought him down first, and that he didn't.
Yeah.
And so Maya said, I apologize to Martin afterwards because you took it for the team, just like Alvaro says, took one for the team. So yes, Mo, I'll say it was enthusiastic. It might have not even been necessary. He probably could have brought a dinner in over into the wing, but at that point, you're holding on for that point. You got to make sure that you're going to hold him, and so he did what he did. So I think it was if enthusiastic, but necessary to make sure that the point was there. But for as much as Martin's play was absolutely a defending the badge type play, he's not my pick. Sorry about it. Come at me, chat. It is what it is, but I really, really liked what I saw out of Julian out of this game. He wasn't one of the choices, but I think that week by week he's getting stronger. I mentioned it on earlier on the pod. He's becoming more defensively sound, which is something that Greg talked about in preseason, and he's putting the offensive side to go with it with his second assist. There were moments that he got forward. I mean, I think there was one moment that he busted a caño on one of the St. Louis players, and he made one of the St. Louis players fall, and the entire crowd was like, oh, it was one of those awesome moments. And I think it's one of those signs of a player that's playing with confidence, that is starting to feel himself, feel his abilities, and starting to kind of recognize his place within the team. I mean, he's a great ball handler. I mean, when he gets forward, I mean, he's a dangerous option for the Galaxy. I don't think he's ever going to be as dangerous going forward as say Julian was. That's Araujo. But this Julian is dangerous in his own right. So for me, that's who I'm picking for defending the badge.
And he's got really good. It's gonna be hard for Gabriel Peck to get back in the side because he's got really good chemistry. And I think, with Fagundes, and I think their skill sets complement each other really well. Robert Julian likes to hug the touchline, go on the outside, and Fagundes likes to cut in on his right. Right, you saw it, even though it's kind of the reverse. You saw it on that play, the hockey assist for Fagundes, a little step over and a little flick. That was beautiful, and I think I love seeing that chemistry. You know, the other thing, Robert, that's interesting is, and I see why you kind of gave him the badge. You talked to Mo about that, like Julian Aude can be a liability, right? And that was like a point that maybe St. Louis would target. Definitely wasn't a liability this game. Granted, he did make a mistake last game, and I think that's where his room for improvement is the consistency. But
Right.
did a really good job. Now, interestingly, on the opposite flank, I think Yamane had a poor game. That was his first poor game I think he'd had this season.
Yeah.
He
Maya
wasn't up
said
to
it.
standard. So again, but again, this is football. It happens, right? But this is where the rest of the team needs to
We're
pick
on the
up for.
human after all.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this is why we have an 11. If one guy is not, stepping it up, we've got to get the other guys to kind of shoulder the load. But yeah, not mad at your pick, man. Really interesting pick there for sure for Julian Ade.
Yeah, I mean, I've brought it up before. He's a young cat. He's here all by himself. He doesn't know the language. I mean, he's learning the language. I mean, so there's going to be this kind of like a adjustment period that's even longer for somebody like him. And I think he's starting to really show Galaxy fans why the Galaxy brought him over. I mean, they didn't make an insignificant investment into him. So he's stepping up. I love it. Long may it continue. So that's my pick. But of course, chat, tell me if you think I'm full of it. If you think I'm wrong, come at me. I don't care. I'll defend Julian Aude to my death. So anyway, guys, that's where defending the badges. Go ahead and get your vote in on X. And let us know who you think won. Go ahead and drop a comment on why. We have a bunch of different people in the chat right now saying that it's Gossitus or bust, it looks like, but we'll let you know who wins this tomorrow when we go ahead and reveal that on X. So where does that leave the Galaxy? Through 4 matches in 2024, they hold an unbeaten record, 1-0-3, 9 goals scored, 7 goals against, and sit in 4th place in the Western Conference on 6 points. Ananda mentioned that they probably feel kind of similar in the standings to where they were last year. I think we're still saved by the fact that they're unbeaten. I think that's why the optimism or the momentum train is still full speed ahead. I think even though SKC is a tough match, it's a winnable match. Of course, speaking of that SKC match, stay tuned for our preview on Thursday night at 7 p.m. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you guys know when that's dropping and who our special guests are going to be for these previews coming up. Ananda, what any thoughts, if any, on this SKC match coming up? Tough away match.
Like you said, tough away match. We're gonna meet our nemesis Johnny Russell. I'm sure Mo is hoping that we beat SKC. But man, for me,
We got you, Mo.
He has his teams well coached. I need to scout them a little bit. I kind of need to understand how they've been playing this year. But we know it's going to be a tough match. It is away, right? So that's always going to be tough. I'll say this now. I think to keep the momentum going, I think we need at least a point, but we need to go for all 3. But at least in an away setting, a point is not the worst result. But again, we'll talk about it later. But we need all 3 because you know what? I just thought about this now. I mean, we play Seattle at home. Granted, it's at home, but Seattle's a tough game, man. Seattle always
Super hard game.
I think I saw a stat that we have not beat Seattle in the last, I think we've drawn or lost against them in the last 8 or 9 or something like that. Some crazy.
Yeah,
stat.
it was a rough stat. I brought it up in one of last season's pods, but it's a rough stat to look at.
So I think we need the 3 points just for the momentum going into that game to have the confidence, right? It's a confidence builder. So we'll see.
Well, anything else to add before we get on out of here?
No, man. Chat. Thanks for sticking with me and because I know I've got the Doc Rivers like
Big Doc
really
Rivers.
crackly voice today. Like yeah. So I was all about that today. No, but we missed you, chat, and thanks for joining us, man. And no, Rob, just take it away.
Ernesto has a valuable point. Seattle is not doing well. I believe they're in 12th at the moment. However, that's one of those classical type matches where they
Yeah,
always play
they always
the
show up.
Galaxy hard.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's for whatever reason they have it out for the Galaxy. Maybe because Galaxy used to knock them out regularly in the playoffs, and so they always show up for the Galaxy. I mean, whenever it's a Seattle match, I'm always kind of afraid for it. So anyway, that's coming up in a couple weeks, but yeah, stay tuned for our preview pod for SKC on Thursday. And yeah, really there's not much else to say, but thank you, chat, for all your good insight and for waving that Cáceres flag real high. Who would have thought that we're giving potentially giving a defending the badge for getting a red card, but it extenuating circumstances this year is different.
Yeah.
So
It's hitting different.
well, thank you guys for listening to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a La Cunita. And until we meet again next time, one thing I'll say, G.